Boys, I do want to talk a little bit about Pierre-Emile Hojbjerg, the centre. We haven't spoken about the central midfield today. We spoke mainly about the forward line and the defence. The midfield is balanced at the moment.
Blessed.
Everybody was expecting Hojbjerg to not be able to fit into this system, but the geezer's come back in and like a true champion, a true Viking warrior. If Ellie's watching, she'll appreciate that. He stepped up. And I want to play out the game now. Is it more important to find a way to convince him to stay and be a part of this? Or is it more important to try to find a club that will pay real value, the correct value, which we haven't been able to do with any of our other assets for the last 3 years, apart from Harry Kane, and get 35 million and then re-put it into a player that's a little bit younger, a little bit of a better fit for a specific role? Dave, I'll start with you, mate. Hojbjerg, stay or go?
Look, I've been one of them. I've sort of, with Jack and Ellie, I feel like I've been out on my own sometimes as well, defending the guy. Look, I always said, he would fit into Ange ball. I think his biggest weakness is when you put a weaker player in beside him, he's not going to elevate them and he's not going to take control of that midfield. But when you put him in with players on his level or better, it can drag him to a new level. And for me, I'm glad that he has shown fans that he can step in, he can play Ange ball, and he's a lot better passer like he demonstrated against Fulham than what people give him credit for. But look, I've always said, keep him. For me, you want to keep Maddison, Papamatta Sarr, Basuma, Bentancur, Hojbjerg, and I've always argued, even about selling him in January, I've always said, well, hang on, you've got AFCON coming up, you're losing Sarr and Basuma out in the midfield. For me, I think you've got to keep him. That's where he has a chance to really come in and impress. But my point was always, get rid of players that aren't contributing, like Skip, like Lo Celso, cash in on them, use that money, and go and bring in a sixth midfielder, and there's your six midfields, one for every position. You've got a really strong midfield. I'll be honest, I don't get some of the disrespect that Hojbjerg has gotten down the years. I've seen more disrespect to him than people like Dyer, who has just been shit, people like Sanchez, who has just been shit. I've seen more disrespect to Hojbjerg than I've seen to Ndombele and Lo Celso, who haven't even contributed to this football club. I don't get it. For me, every manager trusts him. Every manager plays him. I think there was an element last season of fatigue. I think the guy's missed less than 5 games since he's joined Tottenham, up until this season. He played nearly every game for Spurs. And there's a lot to be said to have a player that when a manager calls upon him, you know exactly what he's going to deliver. In the spirit of Guy Fawkes night coming up, Shawnee. But, there is a lot to be said. You look at someone like, for instance, Lo Celso came off the bench against Fulham. He done nothing. It looked like he didn't want to be there. You look at Hojbjerg, for instance, when he steps on, you know exactly what you're going to get, and you have to have that impact from the bench. Now, look, I don't want to hear any more, can Hojbjerg play this way? He's proven that he can. The question is, does Hojbjerg want to remain as a backup or stay here and fight for his place? Before the season, coming into January, the answer was no. But if we're in a title race or he's still at the top of the table come January, I can guarantee you his mind will change. Why would he want out if you're fighting for a league title?
And also the fact that next season you're going to be playing 50, 60 games a week again, so there's far more need to rotate. Right, Johnny?
Listen, I've got to be honest with you. Dave I could have just stuck my face on Dave's head, right? Because basically, I totally agree. I've argued and I've argued and I've argued till I'm blue in the face. I've actually given up now. He played 100 games in 2 seasons, right? He played every game for Denmark. He played every game for us, right? Why? You know what?
Best ability is availability as well.
Right. Okay. I mean, he's a guy who's got a gash down his leg. He don't give a shit. He's there next week. There are players. I've got a bit of a twinge this week, boss. Don't know if I can make it. Right. He's a warrior. Okay. He plays a completely different role for Denmark. He plays much further forward. He's much more progressive. He's got that in his locker. People seem to forget the assists he made last season in a shit team. People forget the important goals he scored in a shit team last season. I think he's a crucial member of this squad, right? And if we let him go, we're nuts, right? the calming influence on our team. He came on against Bournemouth to calm things down, right? He comes on and trust him when things start to go a bit, shit. He brings him on. Bissouma was taken off. He wasn't having a good game. It's as simple as that. And when he came on, he calmed everything down. For me, we should be blessed that we've got a player of his ability. I really do. I'm not quite understanding, like Dave, why people have got it in for him. There are so many players that need to be dug out for shit, for shit performances. He is not one of them.
I'm not part of the he's terrible crew at all. I never have been. I've always loved and admired him, respect him, want him to be, if he becomes king of Denmark, I would absolutely be there at his, inauguration. Love to see it. I think the guy's an absolute champion of a player, like an absolute mentality beast. And you can only respect the fact that because last season and for the 2 seasons before, he played every minute. And the guy that's taken his place was in the squad last season. And then the new manager comes in and says, I don't want you, I want this guy. You could forgive a person for oh, is your microphone? No, I didn't think it was.
Apparently. I'll just sort it out now. Give me 1 second.
Oh, it didn't sound like it was loud to me. I thought Johnny that he's an absolute mentality monster, because when he comes in, you can see players going like a Lo Celso who's like, well, I'm not really going to try because you don't fancy me anyway. So, you know what, like, I don't really care about this football club if they don't care about me. He does his job every day. However, the argument from me, this is devil's advocate time, whilst I'm happy with what you guys have said and I agree, but for devil's advocate purposes, if you could get 35 million quid for him, if you could find the club that's willing to pay it, and it's a club that he wants to go to where he's going to be influential and he's going to have similar opportunities to do good things in that league, then is it right, or is it something to not overlook that with that 35 million quid, you could go and get whatever you need? You could go and get a young up and coming midfielder that can sit in the sixth.
That's the problem, Sean, right? This position in the way football is played now, who ever thought that sixes would be going for more money than strikers, right?
Well, it's the linchpin, mate. It's the cornerstone of this 4-3-3 system.
You know, like Paulinho for me is unbelievable player. I saw someone said he's too old. He's 27 years of age. I don't care, right? The guy, his numbers last season smashed. There was no one. He was nearly double the amount of interceptions and tackles than anyone else. The game against the other day against Brighton, he had more tackles and interceptions than nearly anyone on the pitch. The most tackles and interceptions than any player in any game this season. The guy is a monster.
Yeah, he's a 90 million pound player. Tottenham aren't going to spend 90 million quid on him, are they?
So what I'm saying to you is, what is the point of getting 30 million for Hojbjerg to replace him with who? You're going to need to spend 60, 70 million. Lavia was you're not.
I don't think. I think maybe, yeah, if you want to get an established Premier League level player.
Established is 19, Lavia.
Yeah, well, Lavia was never worth 100 million quid.
It was 60 something million.
70 million quid. That was a bidding war of a guy who's got more money than sense in Todd Bowley, doesn't know what he's doing, and he's just saying, I'm gonna take whoever you want. So
but Liverpool were prepared to pay over 50. My point here, Sean, is that this position is such a linchpin position now.
Yeah, but is Hojbjerg a quintessential six? I don't think he is.
No, he's got more to his game, and that's why I feel like why would you get rid of him? Because you could have a situation where Papa Sarr is the holding player and Hojbjerg.
Great debate right there.
He's
Phillips. Not for me.
He's Harry Winks.
He's not Harry Winks. He's not Harry Winks.
Hang on, Calvin Phillips has got 4. Hang on, Gareth Southgate. Right, honestly, how Gareth Southgate is still picking Calvin Phillips. There's a reason why he's only had 5 games in 2 years, right? Or 18 months or however long it is, right? There's a reason, Sean, right? And it's not down to just injuries. He's not good enough. He's not good enough. It's just not good enough.
But Pierre Hojbjerg wouldn't get into Manchester City squad either.
But you look at his career. I'm sorry. If you look at Hojbjerg's career is better than Calvin Phillips. Sorry.
I agree with that.
I like Phillips. I think Phillips is. I remember back when Leeds.
You like
came
his man bun. That's what it is.
I'm a fan of his bun. Yeah, but it's a man fun to me. But I think that his ability to spray passes deep into channels is exceptional. I think that the problem thing with Pierre Hojbjerg again.
Why is he not getting minutes, Sean? Why is he not getting minutes? Even with all the players that have left Man City, even with all the injuries, why is he still not getting minutes?
Johnny, if he was a different nationality, nobody would be talking about him. That's the truth. If he was Irish, if he was Danish, Finnish, and no one would be talking about him.
No, I think he's finished.
Nobody would be talking about him. Look, I just don't rate him as a player. When I look at him for England, I think he plays very, very safe, sideways passes. We've had that with Harry Winks. We know how boring and repetitive that gets and how annoying it gets. You just want someone to be brave on the ball. And look, when he went to City, he had promise, but he hasn't developed that promise. And if we want to catch City and we want to get there, for me, I don't think it makes sense to bring in a Calvin Phillips on loan and sell a Hojbjerg. Hojbjerg loves this club. Johnny, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe he's first in the training ground and more or less last to leave nearly every day of the week. Ultimate professional. Setting standards that weren't there in previous years. All this sort of stuff cannot be overlooked. Now, look, for me, it just makes sense, Johnny. I don't know what you think. Keep him until the summer, and then we can have that debate whether you want to move them on. But right now, it's about shifting out players that aren't contributing, and even when they're given the opportunity, they don't. Build the squad out to make us, on the same level as a City, as a Liverpool, as an Arsenal, with a bit more strength in depth. And then the summer, have the conversation about maybe moving Hojbjerg on once Lo Celso's gone, once Skip is gone. Hojbjerg I've been told Skip's better than Hojbjerg, Winks was better than Hojbjerg. He's lasted out every single one of them. He's not as bad as we make him out to be.
Well, I don't make him out to be as bad. Look, he was part of the players' committee. When he's come in and now he's not part of the players' committee, has he thrown his toys out of the pram? No. Players still come to him for advice. He's still respected within the group, right? He's very respected in international football. Look how many goals he scores for Denmark, right? He plays a different game. He's a leader. He's experienced. He knows, when you're in a game, we got a team full of youngsters. When you put him into that team to add that little bit of experience, a little bit more of that nous that you need in certain games to get yourself over the line. And Andrew's mentioned it before. He's that calming influence, bringing him on for 20, 25 minutes towards the end of the game. Does he feel like he should be getting more game time? 100%. But I don't think he's not thrown his toys out the pram. He came in, he had a very good game. I thought when he replaced Basuma in the Bang game. He didn't throw his toys out of the pram when he got dropped. He came on for Crystal Palace. I thought he had really good when he came on. I think he's just, for me, Phillips is not the answer. I think you keep PEH until the end of the season and then you address it then. You do not address it now. And if he wants to stay on and sign a new contract, I'm happy for that as well.